Grizzlies trade talks escalating. Reporter reveals huge update as the Memphis Grizzlies are still looking to see who they can add to their roster this offseason. We'll go over the most realistic names and the least realistic and what potentially is in store left for the Memphis Grizzlies this offseason, especially after that blockbuster trade this weekend with Desmond Bane to the Orlando Magic. But what's going on, everybody? Jared Alatorre here for another episode of Grizzlies Digest in the middle of the week. Y'all made it to the middle of the week. We're almost to the end of the week, and we're almost to the end of the road in the NBA season before everybody starts this off season. But before we get into the content, of course, y'all are doing a great job engaging. I want to engage with more of you, especially with all you New York Knicks fans, and of course all you Grizzlies fans in the last video. Make sure to hit that subscribe button so you never, ever miss another upload from us. It's so busy. Breaking news doesn't wait. The trades don't wait for us. We're on it right now, so let's get into the content. From Clutch Points, these are three best Grizzlies trades using the number 16th pick in the 2025 NBA Draft. So, few names to go over. Obviously, a lot of the names you probably know already, but definitely some more leverage here when discussing one of the guys that we talked about last week, and that is Deni Avdija. Again, a long-term investment. This seems as the most realistic just because he looks like he's in his prime. But before you say, hold on, this may be kind of impossible because he's in his prime right now, and Memphis is going to have to offer a lot to get him, especially because look at the offer for Desmond Bane, 5 first-round picks, along with Cole Anthony and KCP. But hold on just a moment. Deni Avdija will be the most attainable target and perhaps the smartest long-term investment. He thrives as a glue guy who does not need the ball to impact the game, something Memphis now values more than Bane gone and more than Ja Morant still dominating the offensive load. Meanwhile, Deni Avdija could slot in as a starting small forward or a hybrid power forward depending on lineups. His ability to defend wings and occasionally switch onto guards makes him an ideal partner for Jaren Jackson Jr. on the perimeter. More importantly, he can help initiate offense when Ja sits, and his passing touch fits the Grizzlies' motion-heavy, fast-paced identity. Now, the case for maybe Deni Avdija asking out of Portland is because maybe he feels like Portland has a young team, sure, but that young squad that's around 4 or 5 years younger than him, is that the direction of what Portland is trying to go in right now, in that younger direction? But of course, Deni Avdija is still, no matter how old he is, still a very nice piece. But what can Memphis offer to get him? And just what we went over, perhaps a package centered around the number 16th pick in the draft, which is what Memphis got following that Bane trade, and a salary matching player like Brandon Clarke or Ziaire Williams. Given his age and contract, he provides both win-now utility and long-term growth. Now, realistically, I'm sure that a lot of you are probably going to say, well, you need probably close to an all-star or an all-star level player to get Deni Avdija. Sure, that's fine. But for Memphis' sakes, for, again, what do we keep talking about? Financial flexibility. It's going to be on repeat this whole summer, right? If you're Zach Kleiman, the Memphis Grizzlies, you're trying to look for financial flexibility. And what else have we been talking about, right? Santi Aldama. We've been talking about Luke Kennard, Gigi Jackson, Vince Williams Jr. So I think it would take the number 16th pick, but also maybe a couple of those other guys that I just said, along with Brandon Clarke, for Portland to maybe give it a look. But again, for Deni Avdija, he's in a great place right now, averaging 16.9 points, nearly 17, 7.3 rebounds, 3.9 assists per game. And in terms of costs, Deni Avdija wouldn't require breaking the bank. And I think it's a win situation for him, knowing that he's not on a young rebuilding team that is, and let's be honest, I mean, Portland's kind of more emphasizing that young core than really anybody else. But you look at a guy like Deni Avdija, you just don't want his talent to go to waste. And I think no matter where he is, I wish him the best. I want the best for him. But again, this seems like the most realistic thing, in my opinion, I think. But it's this report that we see here from Clutch Points that's putting Deni Avdija as a guy for a win-now utility player and a long-term growth player. And I agree with that. So the next guy I'm going to go to is Jaylen Brown, the star swingman to push Memphis over the top. Acquiring Jaylen Brown would signal that Memphis is all in on competing immediately. Following consecutive Eastern Conference runs with Boston, as well as a Finals MVP in 2024, there's a question of fit and leadership, but not of talent. Nobody can deny that Brown, one of the most prominent figures in Boston and around the NBA, averaging over 22 points a game, 5.8 rebounds, 4.5 assists in the regular season. Brown could form a lethal three-headed monster with Ja Morant, Jaren Jackson Jr., with each bringing elite skills on both ends of the floor. So already we're talking right now about building around Ja Morant and Jaren Jackson Jr. So this should probably eliminate all, if not any, talk about splitting Jaren Jackson Jr., Ja Morant. Of course, there are lots of reports that come in all the time, and of course we go over them, we react to them. I love Jaylen Brown as a really great fit for Memphis. I just think that Boston, while they do have a financial problem, and they have a lot worse of a financial problem than Memphis does, it seems more likely that they would get rid of guys like Porzingis, Drew Holiday, get some room, get some, again, financial flexibility. Again, that's just going to be the theme going into this offseason, especially with Memphis. But Boston especially needs that. And moving just Jaylen Brown would help clear that up pretty good for Boston. But again, Jason Tatum, he's still there, but he's not going to be there until at least 2026. I'm thinking not at least until All-Star break or after All-Star break of 2026. You're not going to see any Jason Tatum on the court. So for Jaylen Brown, again, I like his fit with Memphis, but I think it's really going to take more than what we think it's actually going to take to get Jaylen Brown to Boston. And that would just mean that Boston is going a completely different route. That means they're going in a different direction. In the words of Brian Windhorst this past weekend, they'll be going in a different direction. But Memphis, they seem like they're staying in the direction of Ja Morant and Jaren Jackson Jr., and guys wanting to build around them. A little bit more about Jaylen Brown. His slashing ability and athleticism would open up driving lanes for Ja, while also giving Memphis a secondary shot creator and a late-game scoring threat, something the team has lacked in high-stakes moments, which I completely agree with. Defensively, Morant, Brown, and Jackson could a lineup of all three of those guys could switch nearly everything and generate turnovers at a high rate. However, bringing in Brown won't be easy. His Supermax contract is projected to exceed around $50 million annually and would strain Memphis financially and force them to offload multiple players. So definitely a con, or whatever word you want to call it, to get Jaylen Brown in Memphis. And the last one, and Phoenix, they're having lots of problems getting rid of Kevin Durant. But it looks like DeMichael Cole's cleared it all up. He says, per sources, the Grizzlies are not interested in trading for Kevin Durant. They had an offer at the trade deadline, but they haven't and don't intend to engage on such a trade for KD this offseason. So again, the Suns are looking at Kevin Durant, and that's a toxic situation right now, right? Because he's saying, okay, I want to go to Miami, San Antonio, Houston, and Phoenix is like, nah, we don't want to put you in a preferred destination. We want to torture you. We want to mentally torture you, and we want to put you in, I don't know, we want to put you somewhere like Charlotte. I don't think that's going to happen at all, but it's almost like Phoenix is torturing him, not letting KD walk to exactly where he wants to walk to, right? So, again, it seems like anything's possible at this point, but that's, in the words of DeMichael Cole, a local Memphis reporter, who says that the Grizzlies are not interested in trading for Kevin Durant. And, of course, you're looking at Kevin Durant and you're thinking, okay, it's a future Hall of Famer, the two-time champion, the two-time Finals MVP. but he's not going to have as much longevity as LeBron James. Right? LeBron James going to be 41 coming up this December. He's still going to be playing this season. There was even one report saying he could go another 5 to 10 years, like Tom Brady, maybe until 45. And who knows if that's going to happen. But that is definitely not going to be Kevin Durant. Right? So all these picks that people are talking about, even there was one report saying that the Desmond Bane trade that had all those first-round picks, that's not going to be Kevin Durant. Whoever that's going to be, that's not going to be KD. At least that's from one report. But again, that's why we're keeping up with all this, to bring you the news, bring you the updates, the rumors, the reactions, and all that, and have you engage with it. Leave a comment down below. Your top free agent that you want to see in a Memphis uniform. If not one of these three players, leave your comment down below. Leave your dream target down below. Want to engage with that. But that's going to do it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. This episode of Grizzlies Digest will have a lot more for you this week. Stay tuned, and thank you so much. Have a good one.